pressure off the edge, and it's intercepted. D'Angelo Pons roll out the big red carpet. Touchdown, Indiana.
It's time for the big red carpet. Here's your host, Rhett Lewis.
Welcome back, fellow Hoosiers. Excited for another episode here, the Big Red Carpet. I am Rhett Lewis. Thanks so much for being with us. And the wins just keep coming. The wins just keep coming. The rankings just keep climbing. IU now number 2 in the coaches poll, number 2 in the AP, highest ranking ever in program history. And they get it done with a big win over Michigan State. And you know what's funny? I was doing play-by-play for Big Ten Network this last weekend, and I was in Northwestern for the Purdue Northwestern game, and this was going on at the same time that Indiana was kicking with Michigan State. And normally, I'd have had this like anxiety, right? This like piece of uneasiness in the pit of my stomach, knowing that I wasn't able to watch and always wanted to kind of keep track as much as I could, just kind of wondering. It just didn't feel that way this week against Michigan State. I just, I knew I had to focus on the game at hand that I was doing, but also like there was just such a difference in expectation. Like this is a game Indiana should win, and this is a game that they will win because of the way that Coach Cignetti prepares this team. They were prepared. Now he mentioned it after the game, right? It felt like it took until Friday to feel like they were in the right headspace to play the game following the big win over Oregon at Autzen Stadium the week before. But bottom line is they got there, right? And maybe it even took until the first drive or two defensively to really kind of figure things out. Offense scored on the first 5 possessions. Felt pretty good about the way that ended up for IU. But a 38-13 win, pushing the record to 7-0, 4-0 in conference play. And so we will get to the offensive and defensive breakdown here. Not as much to really dig into. It's a lot of some of the same things that we've been talking about, but do want to go over and highlight a few of those things. We'll get into some of what's going on around the Big Ten as well. And then a quick preview of what to expect from UCLA. I've seen them in person, a good team. And I think, again, the messaging from Coach Sig on this game and this week will be really important. And we'll have that to you coming up in just a few minutes from his press conference earlier on Monday. So we'll have all that coming up, plus a real treat this week, because Lou Moore was recognized by the Senior Bowl, the premier all-star game on college football, as the seniors and some juniors who have some juniors who are on track to graduate will be eligible to go play in the Senior Bowl, some of the best competition from around the league, and is a big piece of draft evaluation. Drew Fabianich, the new executive director of the Senior Bowl, is going to join us. Lou Moore was recognized as their stock up player of the week after another really nice, solid performance from his safety spot. They've talked about Fernando Mendoza and Elijah Surratt in weeks past. So we're going to get a chance to talk to Drew coming up here with his thoughts on Lou and some of the other NFL prospects from this IU defense, as well as Fernando and the offensive studs as well. So stay tuned for that. That is on the way following the breakdown here from Michigan State and the look ahead to UCLA. You don't want to miss that. All right, let's start with Michigan State here. And we'll start like we usually do here on the offensive side of the ball. This, again, was a game where Fernando Mendoza was at his best. Felt like in this game, this was an IU team, 464 total yards, again, clean on the turnover sheet, which is so important. And they just kind of continue to find the right mix to have the path of least resistance moving forward from a defense. And this was a game where, look, again, over 130 yards rushing. This was not a 300-yard rushing effort like we'd seen earlier in the season, but it was a banner day for the passing unit here. 332 passing yards. Fernando with a season high of 24 of 28. I think I might have mentioned two incompletions, but it was 4 incompletions. Felt like every ball that Fernando was throwing was getting caught. Like, and you've kind of come to expect that too, which is kind of neat. When I was watching, the Saints in their heyday with Drew Brees, kind of early to middle part of the Sean Payton run there when the Saints were one of the best teams in the league, it was almost like every time Drew Brees dropped back to pass, you expected a completion. they were that good. They were that efficient. That's what it feels like with Fernando Mendoza and with Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt and EJ and the whole crew getting in on the action here. Has been a lot of fun to watch. So a couple of my favorite pieces from that game and from the offense, from the passing game in particular. I thought the first touchdown from EJ Williams was awesome. Right. That was great to see, like just the effort to get there, the effort to get into the end zone on that play. And I've just been really happy for EJ Williams, after 2 years of banged up, not being able to be in the lineup, going through the transition to Coach Sig and the staff in this offense. It was bumpy, right? You had the moment where thought might not be back with Indiana, is able to come back, stays healthy throughout camp, and which is something that we have been able to say for him. And you're seeing that, and you're seeing him kind of continue to make plays. Caught a couple of touchdowns so far this year. I just thought that was awesome to see as continued payoff for the resiliency that kid has showed, here at Indiana and really throughout his career. So awesome to see for EJ Williams. Just to kind of keep that thread going, there was a play, I want to say it was later on in the second half, where I'm going to put some of these throws out and some of these plays, some of my favorite plays out on X a little bit later this evening before this episode posts. So stay tuned for that. But EJ runs a quick out and Fernando makes this throw off an RPO, right? Where he's, the quick hands that Fernando has to go through the fake, bam, bring the ball up and get it out immediately to be on time to an outbreaking route that's going to hit at the sideline and to be on the money like it was to EJ. Whew. I mean, he's like a second baseman turning a double play. Like that's what it feels like with Fernando Mendoza, and his hands right now in the RPO game are spectacular. And then EJ, really nice fingertip catch on the sideline. And look, 6-7 yard gain, but man, just understanding the mechanics of what goes into a play like that to make it successful was awesome. Omar Cooper just continues to raise, his level of play. Like his route technique right now, his explosiveness in and out of breaks, so good. It's so fun to watch. The 17th play of the game, he's running a shake route, right? Which is essentially a post corner. It's a deep route, right? Again, complementary football and offense, you got to have great protection to get this route off, to get this throw off, to be able to allow this route to develop. And I mean, the throw from Fernando was incredible, but the shake route here, he's running it from the slot. He comes inside, makes the post break, and then just with such minimal breakdown and there's no wasted steps, right? He comes right off the post, breaks back to the corner. It's a wide open route, generates a ton of separation with the way that he's able to explode in and out of his break. And then Fernando with just a picture perfect throw about 35 yards downfield from middle of the field to the left hash, all the way back out to the right sideline was a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to have that one on there for you. And then for Fernando, I thought this was really cool. Like the busted snap, right? And it was, it just, either he wasn't ready for it or it was, I'm trying to remember now if it was like just a little bit high, but it was supposed to be a give. It felt like to me to Kaelon Black, and the awareness of Fernando to then corral the snap, right? And understand, all right, where's the blocking going to be? And he follows it almost like it was almost like it was going to be a QB design run. Maybe it was, I couldn't really tell, but he reads it perfectly and picks up about 8 yards on a play that could have been, a 6-7 yard loss. And that kind of mobility we're continuing to see develop with Fernando, in ways that we just didn't count on it from a year ago. So it's just been a dimension within this offense that has become more valuable. So excited for that part of it for Fernando. I had a fourth down. This is the 23rd play of the game, and it's a 4th and 2, I want to say. They're going to have a spot route from Riley Nowakowski, who is like, hey, bang, if you got it, hit it right away. It's a first down. But it was covered up. And so coming in and breaking off of Riley Nowakowski was Omar Cooper, coming out of a break about 8 to 10 yards downfield, so well past the sticks. And great protection. Again, you expect on a 4th and short that, maybe you're going to get heated up a little bit. You're going to get some additional pressure. But man, Fernando stands tall. Offensive line takes care of him here, gives him time to kind of hang on to that for an extra beat to allow that break towards the outside from Omar Cooper, and then hits him in stride, and it's a first down, and Indiana ends up scoring a touchdown on it, which is big. The Kaelon Black touchdown, great run by Kaelon. Right. He's able to, once he gets through the line of scrimmage, he's able to kind of bounce off a couple of closing tacklers like that come through like windshield wipers on him. But they couldn't, they took bad angles. The burst from Kaelon Black, I think, allowed him to push through there and push through those potential tackles. And then he gets into the end zone. But what was really great to see on that play in particular was the strength, the lower body strength, and then the low pad level from Bray Lynch, the right guard, and from Pat Coogan to essentially separate the defensive linemen that are right there in those gaps and create the daylight necessary for Kaelon to pop through the line of scrimmage and then to continue on forward through the second and third levels of the defense. So again, great work in tandem there. Offensive line understanding what they had to do, the guys that they had to get to make that happen, and then Kaelon understanding where that one was going to hit and the confidence to burst through that thing. Man, that was a lot of fun to watch. Just a terrific offensive performance through the air. Was, maybe one of the best that we've seen, really. 332 yards, 24-28. Omar Cooper over 100. He gets a touchdown. Elijah Surratt with 2. EJ Williams with 1. Like that's big time offensive play. And the expectation of this team, man, it's just fascinating to see how that has changed. Both offensively, it's like it's a 3rd and 9. Oh, they're going to get it. And if they don't, if it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2 now, go for it. Get it then. There's just such a confidence in the way that this offense operates now. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball here quickly. This was, it took a couple of drives to kind of get their feet underneath them and, maybe had some trouble disrupting the rhythm of Aidan Childs in this game. Nick Marsh is a really good receiver. But let's also take into context, they allowed 1 touchdown in this game, right? They've now allowed just 6 offensive touchdowns this season and 4 since week 1. Let that sink in for a second. And all the Big Ten competition that we've seen here, we're talking about just a couple of offensive touchdowns that have been allowed by this defensive unit. Really solid effort. On the Marsh touchdown, Coach Cignetti called it out. It was a miscommunication, right? With Pons and Kellan Wyatt. Pons expecting him to be Wyatt to kind of be in that drop area to take away that slant route that Nick Marsh ended up running. Instead, you got Wyatt kind of hanging with the back as he goes out to the flat, which is where Pons is standing, kind of waiting to kind of take over defending that area of the field. They both end up over there, which leaves the middle of the field wide open for Childs to hit Marsh. That's easily correctable. Now the downside of that is, unfortunately, Kellan Wyatt gets hurt a little bit later in the game. As Coach Cignetti said, it's a potential long-term knee injury. So hate to see that. He's been such a vital contributor for this team. And you're going to hear later on from Drew Fabianich that a guy that's really starting to make his name known in NFL evaluation circles as well. So I hope he can get back before the end of the season, if at all possible. The good news on that front is Stephen Dailey probably had his best game for Indiana as a defensive end in this defense. 2 sacks in this game for me that were so impressive. One and 2 different, and he get to the quarterback 2 different ways. With power, defeating essentially a double team to sack Aidan Childs about 8-9 yards deep in the pocket, and then speed and hands coming off the edge on the second sack in this game, where he's able to just win right now, rip through, and got to Childs before he even realized what was happening. Thought that was awesome. So Stephen Dailey is going to be relied upon even more heavily now. And I think he's playing better and better as the season has gone on and he's got more comfortable within this defense. So like that's really the gist of it for me. A couple of guys that I felt like had really big time games. Fernando continues his march towards a potential Heisman Trophy, even though he doesn't really want to talk about it, which is just fine. But let's get to UCLA here real quick, and let's set the tone by listening to Coach Cignetti.
Okay, UCLA, we're playing a 3-0 football team that's undefeated. That's 3-0 in the conference. Since they have retooled their staff and now have their new defensive coordinator and offensive staff in place, very impressive football team.
The master of messaging. 3-0 football team. Never mind, they started 0-4, right? Never mind they had, a complete overhaul of their coaching staff. This is a 3-0 football team that's playing good football right now, both offensively and defensively, and that is the way that he will attack this week with these players and this team. It's awesome. I'm just so continuously impressed with the way that Coach Cignetti finds the messaging in this game and with this team as they go forward. So really great to see the way that he's trying to refocus this team's mind. Now for UCLA, Nico Iamaleava, quarterback, thought he got hurt pretty badly in this game against Maryland, a game that they ended up winning and coming from behind to win. He comes back, right? Showcases some of that toughness. It looked like he was in real pain. Comes back to lead a game, to lead a game-winning drive at the very end here after Maryland went down and scored. And toughness, man, the toughness mentally and physically within this UCLA team is real. I had a chance to see them play in person against Michigan State. Tim Skipper, I don't know if it'll be at UCLA, but he's going to be a head coach in college football. Like the job that he did last year as the interim head coach at Fresno, and now this year at UCLA, picking up the pieces of this program has been incredible. The fact that they promoted Jerry Neuheisel, Rick Neuheisel's son, Jerry, played at UCLA, has been a coach at UCLA. He's now the play caller. He's doing a damn good job. Now they have found synergy and simplicity, and they're starting to add to it, right? So they've kind of recalibrated, regrouped, focused on what they do well, which is run the football. They've been running really over everybody that they have played since this staff change, which was really fun to watch. And then Nico Iamaleava off that. Now he's a big part of the run game. This will be, I don't know how the knee injury is going to affect, but he has been a vital piece of their run game effort. And so that is going to be a challenge for Indiana, as it was this last week, dealing with Aidan Childs, who can really get after it in the run game. So that's something to watch in this one. Defensively, they will challenge the quarterback's eyes. They will provide some looks that will make him question what he's seeing, both pre-snap and post-snap, which will be a challenge for Fernando, and it'll be a good feather in his cap if he's able to continue his elite level of play against the scheme that this defense runs. In my opinion, not quite as talented as they were a year ago with Femi Oladeju and Carson Swessinger. Who's now, both of those guys are second-round picks in the NFL. They're gone. They've still got some big-time players. John Vaughns is a guy to watch out for at the second level. They've got players who are playing really well together right now. And look, they kind of rallied together. Their backs were against the wall. Everybody was counting them out. Not sure they're going to win a game this year. And they've now rattled off 3 in a row. It started with an upset over Penn State. They come back. They win on the road against Michigan State, come back home, beat Maryland. And they are playing as confidently and with as much juice as any team in the country right now. So this will be a real challenge for Indiana. But look, one that they have met each and every week so far this year, and no reason to expect otherwise in this game. One quick thought that I wanted to add from the game that I was at, Northwestern and Purdue. Now, I've seen Purdue twice. Going to see them again this coming week as they host Rutgers. They're mired in a bit of a losing streak, Purdue is, but they are playing good football at times in every one of these games that they have lost. So just something to kind of keep in mind. They get better as the season's gone on. The results haven't showed it, but I've seen it. So that's something to keep in mind as we get closer to the Oak and Bucket game at the end of November. And for Northwestern, obviously not on the schedule this year for IU, but what David Braun is doing with this program now in his third year running it, really second year as the full-time head coach, is something that the conference is going to have to deal with here moving forward. They play incredible defense. They shut out Purdue. They, again, play probably as good a team defense as any team I've seen this year. Right up there with what Indiana's been doing. And so they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here. And we'll see how it shakes up the rest of the standings, moving forward. Offensively, they can run the football. They can run the football. Just thought that was, something, if you guys are out there and kind of following what else is going on outside the Big Ten. Northwestern's rushing offense and their defense as a whole, really, really good. So, and what David Braun is doing there has been really fun to watch. And they honored the 1995 Rose Bowl team, which, was, as a kid, kind of captured my eyes, right? Never really followed Northwestern football before until Darnell Autry and Pat Fitzgerald were out there, bringing the purple to Pasadena with Gary Barnett. So it was kind of fun to relive some of those moments, which I remembered, following the Big Ten as a kid. So that was kind of cool. Okay. That's just a couple little thoughts there from what's going on around the Big Ten. Obviously, Ohio State continues to dominate as well, and they're number one in the country right now. And look, if both teams went out, you're going to be talking about number one and number two in the country playing for the Big Ten championship in Indianapolis in December. So now a lot of work to do in between then. And look, Ohio State's got to get past Michigan at the end, but scene could be setting for a big time matchup of two Big Ten powers in Indianapolis.
When the final buzzer sounds in Bloomington, the conversation starts here. The assembly call is IU basketball. Live post-game shows, smart midweek breakdowns, and no empty hot takes. Jared Morris, Coach Brian Tonsoni, Andy Bottoms, and Ryan Phillips dissect lineups, sets, and recruiting so you know what really happened and what it means for the Big Ten season, March, and beyond. Join the live chat on YouTube, then catch the podcast on Spotify and Apple. Just search Assembly Call and be part of Hoosier Nation's most trusted post-game tradition.
All right, welcoming now the executive director of the Senior Bowl, Drew Fabianich, with us here. Drew, excited to chat with you, man. And excited to get down to Mobile at the end of January here for your first run at this game. Excited for the opportunity to work with you, and excited to talk about some Hoosiers today, Drew.
Let's go.
I mean, we got you guys love what you do with the awards each and every week, or the recognition, we should say. Stock Up Player of the Week on the defensive side of the ball goes to Indiana safety Lou Moore, who is, in talking with, folks around the program, and the trend line has gone up really from the start of the season each and every week. I've been really impressed with his open field tackling. I thought that's been something that's really showed up the last couple of weeks. What has stuck out to you about the way that Lou Moore has been playing in the back end?
It's not just the open field tackling, Rhett. It's actually just the way he moves and how he actually, he's really, really smooth. There's not a lot of wasted motion. The plant and drive is really good. Most people, are kind of sticky in transition. They have to restart themselves. They have to flex back down. He's really smooth. And that's kind of what caught my eye. I was like, hey, I really like the way he's moving. And then all of a sudden, hey, he's got range. He's got speed. He's got instincts, he's got eyes, and then he comes down and caps really well. Which as a safety, in the NFL that if you can't cap tackle, you're not going to be in the league long. At all.
That's right. And he's really flourished here in this defense, and kind of a unique story. One of those guys that's had to fight for his eligibility, this year with the JUCO rule, and was able to get it, through the legal battle here, and is now good to go for Indiana for the rest of the season. So hoping that that trend line continues in a positive fashion for Lou. Just sticking on the defensive side of the ball. Imagine you've had a chance to watch Aidan Fisher, the linebacker, guy who's kind of GPS to the football, heart and soul of the team and of the defensive unit, type of guys that I feel like, the coaches are really going to love. I don't know what the measurables are going to end up being on him, but man, it's tough to deny a competitor and a gamer like Fisher is.
No, put it this way, you're right. The measurables are not going to be 6'2.5". He's not going to be 245 pounds. Yeah. He's going to run pretty well though. He's athletic. The one thing that I like about him is that, there's not a lot of linebackers now that can play in the sub. And, 68% of the time now in the NFL, you're in the sub. You're in the sub down. So I think that benefits him. I can, as you could tell, I could probably guess on his character just on the way he plays. He's the first guy in the building. He's the last one to leave. He's a coach on the field. He doesn't make mistakes. He makes all the adjustments. I don't know anything about this kid, but you can see that on tape. And people don't understand that unless you've been around it, your whole life and, have been doing this. Your character shows up on tape. It really does.
That's such a great point.
And people don't believe that, but it really does. I'll go, hey, that kid really does flash. But then all of a sudden you'll see just segments of plays where he just disappears. Yeah. And you go, there's a reason. And it's not just physical. It's up here too. You got to be mentally tough.
Yeah, well, if you separate that into heart and head and physicality, Fisher is going to check all three of those boxes for sure. Can vouch for it on that part of it, and I'm sure.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna help you out here on that front, Drew. And I know you'll get to know as you get closer to making the invitations for this game and this year's game. Mikhail Kamara is a guy that kind of continues to flash. Led the nation in pressures a year ago. Sure, we'll hear from him even more in your circles with your conversations with scouts and NFL players as well.
Well, and then watching the tape, I mean, and 13, I wish I could remember his name right off the top of my head.
Kellan Wyatt.
He's playing well too now. I mean, both of them are playing well. And inside, I mean, they're not playing bad
Tyreek
inside.
Tucker, Hosea Wheeler, 95 and 0. And we got another one, Kent State transfer, 8, Stephen Dailey, probably had his best game of the year this past week, couple of sacks in the Michigan State win. So there's a lot to like about that unit for sure. A big part of the success so far. I do want to flip a little bit to the offensive side where, there's another few guys that I know you'll get to know as your process continues here. But the one that the nation has gotten to know this year is Fernando Mendoza, or should we say Heisman Mendoza, Drew, because Fernando has been absolutely insane this year. Just two incompletions this last week. He has such effortless RPMs on the football, and the way he can place it down the field. I mean, some of these throws, you go back to the Iowa game, this last week against Michigan State, the bounce back from the pick 6 against Oregon, I mean, to me, it just kind of continues checking boxes. What have you heard and what have you seen from Mendoza?
It hasn't been what I heard. Again, I praised him in August, in early August. I went on Good Morning Football and, they asked me, said, who's one that you really want to see? And I said, I want to see Fernando Mendoza. And they were like, why? I said, because I watched him, against Auburn last year, and Auburn was pretty good on defense last year.
Yeah.
And he carved them up, and with lesser talent than what he's dealing with right now at Indiana. So I was like going, okay, wait till Sig gets a hold of him. Let's see what happens. What's he surround him with? How's he protect him? And like you said, mechanically, he's really good. I mean, he's really good. A short stroke for a long guy, and that benefits him. And like you said, the ballistics on the ball are really good. And so many NFL teams look at that because some of these games are played in really bad conditions. And if you got the ballistics on the ball, not velocity, but the ballistics on the ball to cut through wind, it helps a great deal. Just like Josh Allen in Buffalo, and when you play in the elements, it helps. He's athletic enough to save his own ass. He's not a scrambler, but he can climb. He can make things happen. He can buy time. I like a lot of things about him. And like I said, I was praising him early and funny. Everybody's on that bandwagon now, aren't they?
Hey, look, we were here from day one. Okay, let's just put it that way, right here, a big red carpet and down in Mobile in the offices of the Senior Bowl. Fernando Mendoza, high standing already. Love that, and I would love to get your thoughts too on your pitch to quarterbacks for this game, because I think oftentimes you'll have. We have quarterbacks who are going to be considered way up at the top. Like, well, maybe we don't need to go the all-star route. But then you look at some of the cases of improvement, even going back to this last year from the Senior Bowl game. Like, Dylan Gabriel, I don't know where he was thought of, but ends up as a third-round pick of the Cleveland Browns. Now he's starting. I mean, the story's Tyler Shuck. Where was he before the Senior Bowl?
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart. Great point.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that factor into your pitch for quarterbacks to come and showcase their skills down in Mobile?
I think it's relative to any position, Brett. I mean, I really do. I mean, I can pitch it as, guess what? If the league thinks of you at this point, which I can find out quickly.
Sure.
And, and again, I'm not being pompous, but I think I know where most people are going to go. Yeah. And again, can they improve their status by coming here? Sure. Yes. Because this goes all the way back to like when we were looking at DeMarcus Ware and we were looking at Sean Merriman, right? Well, Sean Merriman played at Maryland. He played against real dudes. Yeah. Well, quite honestly, DeMarcus Ware didn't at Troy. That's right. And I think the best competition he had that year was Marshall. Mm. And we were sitting there going at 10. We're going like, okay, what's going to be the differentiation between these two? Well, he comes down here and he blows it up. Mm. And we go, okay, we've made our decision. We know who we're going to take at 10 because he can do it all. He can drop, he can come off the edge, and he did it against the best. And that's what this game's about. If you can perform against the best in practice and in games, it's going to increase your value. And this goes all the way back to Phillip Rivers. He ended up being the MVP of this game. And
Senior Bowl Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And I think it helped him a great deal. Last year, the Gray Zabel kid from North Dakota State, the league had him as a high third-round pick. He goes 18. Wow. Okay, well, on a 4-year contract, that is $12.4 million. Okay, on a 4-year contract. So there's my pitch.
Works for me.
If you can't see the value in that, and unless you're the gut cinch number 1 pick, I think you come to this game because you never know.
Yeah,
you have no idea. And the guys that have lost luster, this year so far, why wouldn't they come here and try to prove themselves again?
No question.
Yeah,
no question. I mean, I think it's a great selling point.
And the pitch to the agents, I mean, guess what? You're getting 3%, aren't you? Don't you want more money? And the risk of getting hurt in this game, I did a 10-year research piece on this. 1.4% of the players that didn't finish this game with an injury. 1.4 in 10 years. You have more of a chance of tripping off a curb and getting hurt than you do in this game, because you're really only going to play about 25 to 30 snaps most. You're going to have more reps in practice than you're ever going to have in the game every day.
No question.
And the live reps in the game and in practice are how many? 0. So that's the pitch. And if you can't see the value in that, you're not very good as an agent.
Yeah.
You're not.
Well, and look, and I think it also goes to show, like think back to last year as well. I mean, even guys that played the national championship, Jack Kaiser comes down, Riley Leonard comes down. Obviously, there was a local pull there for Riley, but it helped him too. And so I think there's from game 1 to the last game, there's opportunities for guys to come down and make an impact in the Senior Bowl. Last one on Indiana as it related to Fernando. I think the world also kind of becoming more aware of the guys he's throwing to, guys like Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper, right? Cool. And imagine those guys have caught the league's eye a little bit here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched them last year and I was like, okay, I like what they're doing. I like the body type. I like, with Cooper, I like his separation quicks. But I mean, Surratt, for a big man, has got good separation quicks. He's got good feet. He doesn't have to come to balance to break, which I love. And he uses his body well. I mean, these guys are good players, and guess what? They're making plays for him too now.
That's right.
So, the ball placement is very good, but there are times when it's off, and they're making things happen. Plus, a lot of it is run after catch for him too, because he's catching them in stride, and they got good vision. And and I hate to use this term, but both of them see all the cars on the highway. If you know what I mean.
That's it. That's it.
And they're good with the ball in their hands. So, and the running back's done a good job too.
Sure. Really Hemby and Black. But with Surratt, man, that back shoulder has become a lethal play from Mendoza. And that takes a lot of work. And that takes, a lot of times those are contested catches that you can go up and get. And as you mentioned, Omar Cooper, he is so slippery with the ball in his hands. That first guy in rarely gets him down, which is fun to watch.
And he's a self-preservationist too. If you know
that's right.
He knows when to get down, which is good, because then you save the wear and tear.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get a little Bloomington South down in Mobile this year. It would be a lot of fun.
I love the hat. I got to tell you,
right?
I love the hat. I really do. That's classic. Marlboro. Classic.
It's big. It's big. I think it's banned, but it's okay. It's out here. We do whatever we want right here on the big red carpet. Drew, this has been a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes here with us, talking some Hoosiers and talking Senior Bowl. Can't wait to get down to Mobile again this year for another great week.
Come on. I appreciate you. Thanks, Rhett.
Okay, again, our thanks to Drew. That's going to do it for this episode of the Big Red Carpet. Appreciate you guys for downloading, subscribing, and being a part of the conversation on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. I'm Rhett Lewis. Thanks again to Peter, to Nathan, to Galen, to the entire Back Home Network for getting this program up and off the ground each and every week. We look forward to seeing you back here after the UCLA game next week.